everyone, and welcome to a new direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh man, we have another outstanding show for you today. Listen, I love big things that come in small packages. Don't we all? Don't we love the surprise when you get a small little package and you go, whoa, that's awesome. Today's book, right here, Leader. It is not a title. Okay, folks. I have huge hands. Okay, pretty big hands here, right? It's not as big as my hand, but oh my goodness, is it pack a powerful punch? It is insightful. It is practical. It is so good. The author, David W. Anderson, phenomenal. Really enjoyed reading about him and getting his story. Absolutely great book. We're going to talk about Leader is Not a Title. Call your friends, call your enemies, tell them to listen to the show, review the show. Because this is going to be a good one. I'm just telling you. I don't care if you're CEO, CIO, CFO, CTO, whatever your C-suite is, you want to listen to the show. If you're not in the C-suite, you want to listen to the show. Because can I tell you something? Leader is not a title. We can influence from anywhere. And this is about a mindset change, and we need leader mindset change. You know me, I love mindset work. So we're going to talk to David in just a second. Before we do that, though, let's do what we do every week, right? We are 4-part people: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual people. And we have to be working on ourselves every day in those areas, because the fact of the matter is we never stay the same. We're either growing or we're dying. That's just the truth. You can't just go, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything today and nothing's going to change. No, you changed. You got worse by doing nothing. So these 4 areas of our life: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, these are the areas that make us up. All right. So we need to evaluate ourselves on a regular basis of how we're doing in each one of these areas. So for instance, in the physical area, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, doesn't get any worse. 10 being, man, it just doesn't get better. When it comes to eating right, when it comes to exercise, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, getting the checkups that you're supposed to get. On a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being average, how would you say you're doing? Now listen, if you're 2, I don't want you to go, I'm a loser. No. It's your starting point. How do we get from a 2 to a 2.5? We're not trying to get 2 to 10, right? 2 to 2.5, okay? That's our starting point. So that's your first number. Whatever that number is, that's your first number. All right, second number is the mental intellectual number. And here's the thing. You could sit on this book, Leader is Not a Title. You could sit on it all day. You could sit on it all week. You could sit on it for a month. Can I tell you something? You're not going to absorb a darn thing if you don't pick it up and read it. You have to be an active participant in your intellectual growth. You need to grow in your wisdom and knowledge and understanding of yourself and the world around you. That happens by being an active participant in it. What are you doing to be an active participant in your intellectual growth? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're doing? Right? That's your second number. Third number is the emotional number. So I am a big fan of Daniel Goleman. He's talked a lot about emotional intelligence, emotional quotients, but here's how I like to break it down. How would you rank yourself in two of the emotional areas? One is, how well are you able to control your emotions under stress and pressure? Right? You're in a hurry, trying to get somewhere, and you got the road signs up in front of you, say 1-lane traffic. You're trying to go ahead. You see the guy on your right who's coming up, trying to get to that 1 lane, trying to squeeze in. You're trying to speed up because you're mad. You want to get there. And then that guy just noses in anyway. How did you do emotionally? Right? That's emotional control. Second part is, how well are you able to tap into and understand the emotions of another human being? You want to lead? It's personal. It's not just professional. These are people. And the fact of the matter is, wherever you're leading from, it's more than the idea of P&Ls being profits and losses. This is about people and lives. And that's the P&Ls we need to be concerned with, because that's where we change things. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're doing emotionally? And then finally, the spiritual area. I'm not going to argue with you over what your beliefs are spiritually. Here's what I'm going to just tell you. If you remove the physical, mental, and the emotional part of you, what you're left is a spiritual being that's living in a physical body. And we connect beyond the physical, the mental, and the emotional. There is a connection. There is the spirit of who we are that encourages us to move beyond. We live by faith every day. You drank your cup of coffee believing it wasn't poisonous. You pushed the button on your car believing it would start. The sign said walk, and you believed that the cars weren't going to come across the walk sign and knock you over. You've made plans for the future that haven't happened yet you believe that they will. Faith is a spiritual concept. And when things go bad, what brings you back to centeredness or even to peace? Is it God? Is it nature? Is it meditation? Is it something else? And how's it working for you? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say your spiritual area is doing? Those numbers are like the air in the tires of your car. If one tire is too low or a couple tires are too low, what's going to happen? Well, it's hard to steer the car. But what happens if all 4 tires are too low? Over the course of time, if we don't change it, we ruin the car. And speaking of someone who's got his tires to the right height, his name is David W. Anderson. He has been a founder and CEO of numerous companies over the last 25 years. These companies range from marketing agencies to SaaS-based software companies, publishing companies, real estate ventures. And in these roles, David has had many successes and also his fair share of failures. David has led his organizations through several mergers and acquisitions, growing businesses during excellent economic times, but also making the tough decisions that come during the not so excellent economic seasons. He's done all this while trying to balance being present with a growing family and dealing with many other curveballs in his life. He has been at the highest levels while traveling the world, working for 2 United States presidents, serving as a senior staffer on 2 presidential appointment commissions, and worked for a United States congressman. He served on numerous communities-based boards and directors, and is currently global board of directors of entrepreneurial organization EO. David has been married to his wife Debbie for more than 23 years, has 2 sons, and he joins us today with his latest effort book called Leader Is Not a Title. So please, everybody, welcome to A New Direction for the first time. David Anderson, welcome to A New Direction, brother.
Thank you very much. I could just sit and listen to your opening for the whole time. Keep going. I'm writing down my score. I'm writing down my scores here. Looking at where I need to work on myself today.
Well, we like to start the show that way. We feel that, if we get everybody going, here's the thing is that if you're listening or watching the show, whatever you're doing, you're raising your intellectual level. I promise you're affecting your spiritual level. And you're also doing something about your emotional level, because we're going to give you tips and things that are going to be able to answer that. And if you're doing all those things right, physically, you should be something as well. So that's what the show's about. We try to tap into all of these things. I'm going to jump right into the book. And I'm going to jump into chapter 1, which is entitled, Why Another Book on Leadership? And you jump out of the gate saying, being a leader is not a title, but a mindset. And not one particular mindset, but many. Talk to us about the mindsets that you espouse in this book, because I think these are really important for us to wrap our mind around, that we got to get out of this title thought process into these other mindsets. Talk about those.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me on. Being a leader, whether it's a title or not a title, think how many mindsets you need to go through each day. One of my favorite quotes is John Maxwell's, before you can lead others, you need to lead yourself. So you talked about it, right? When you wake up in the morning, what's your mindset? What's your spiritual? How are your mindset for you before you go interact with the first person you're going to interact today? And when I talk about, leaders, we're leaders in our homes. We're leaders in our families. We're leaders in our communities. We're leaders, all around us in different things. And the mindset is what we start with every day, spouse, significant other, whatever, kids, families. How do you do? And, listening to your start of the show, Jay, I love it because I'm also a big believer of how you start every meeting and end every meeting will have the greatest impact on the effectiveness of what you're doing. And your opening in that helps put people in a positive mindset of where it is. And this isn't just Dave. Dave's not that smart, but it's the brain science behind it all that, people's reactions happen in nanoseconds, excuse me, of where you are. And this mindset can change as a different person comes into our room. We look at an email, we answer a phone. And like you said, how we control ourselves through each of those emotional changes that happens to us thousands of times a day is huge. So, do I have a difficult situation I'm dealing with? What's my mindset going into that? The very next meeting I may be walking into, it may be at my kid's school. I need to constantly change those mindsets. And I found myself many times that, my mindset was set for the day. It's a bad morning, so I'm going to be, difficult all day long. That doesn't accomplish anything at all. And the greatest leaders, regardless of your title, know how to adapt as the situations adapt because people are looking at you. Does that make any sense?
No, it does. And I want to tap into a mindset that you specifically talk about. That's going to be a theme throughout the book. And this is the idea that as a leader, you have to adopt a coach's mindset. This is new. I mean, I've had a lot of authors on talk about leadership on the show. This is the first time I've run across any author saying that you have to adopt a mindset as a leader of being a coach. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Look at any sports team. Your role, the coach can't go out on the field and do the work for you. They have to coach up the people around them. They need to make them better. They have to, just like being a parent, also walk this line of maybe knowing what to do. But if you are answering every single question all the time, how are you going to personally learn and grow? How's your business going to learn and grow? How are you going to do this? So our responsibility as a leader / coach is to make all the people around us better. I talk a lot about, I ask business leaders all the time, what's your championship? What's your championship? Is it a revenue number? Is it market share? Is it number one where you are? Is it best place to work? But what's your championship? And then think about any sports team, how you need to field players to help you achieve the goal. In football, US football, it's a Super Bowl. I need a quarterback. I need the best. If a righty quarterback, I need the best left tackle there is, the blind side, that. I can't just have receivers. If it's a baseball team, you can't have 9 shortstops on the field. So it's all about being that coach to help your team win championships. Just at some point in life, we've all played sports, regardless how far you go. With our kids, we've been whatever. Think of that mindset that you cannot win your championship unless you coach all the players you have on your team, and whether that's 3 or 300 of them.
I love this. I love this concept of the coach's mindset, and it's going to be something that filters throughout the entire book. And in chapter 2, which is called the teamwork mindset, and this is where I think there's a glue here that has to happen. And we talk a lot about there's no I in team. We got to have a team mindset. But one of the things that you say here is a mindset that is like a coach of any team, that you must bring together the skills of many people to accomplish the common goal. And that the leadership isn't about power. It's about motivating and helping people through influence and coaching. Talk to us more about that.
Yeah, I completely agree about that. And later on in the book, which I know you read because we've talked about it, is being a coach, being a leader is like being a chemist. because you are constantly looking at what are the right people mix, what are the right things that you need to achieve the best results. When a new player comes in, how does that affect the chemistry, excuse me, of everyone? So absolutely, as the leader, your responsibility is to field the players that are going to allow you to reach your goals. I also talk in the book that leadership is all about having influence over somebody.
Mhm.
You can't lead somebody if you don't have, I like to say, positive influence. I don't point that out so much in the book, but through conversations, because if we have influence over somebody, we can motivate them. Our job as a leader is to motivate people. Sure, we can use hierarchical crap of you, I'm the boss, you have to do this. And that may work for a short term, but you're not going to get people to give it their all. So it's leadership equals influence equals motivation. And when you motivate people to do their very best, and as you very well know, as you mentioned, emotional intelligence and stuff early on, very rarely do we motivate the two people the exact same way too.
Right.
So as as a coach, what do you have to do? Down days, you got to pick them up. Good days, you got to push them harder. It's all about motivation for sustained leadership. Yes, new people come in, do what I tell you type of thing. That lasts a very short time. But the greatest teams, the level 5 leaderships that John Maxwell talks about, Wooden, who is basketball coach at UCLA, Wooden, I can't think of his first name, John Wooden, exactly. One of the best coaches ever. And any of his players, just about any one of them will tell you what John Wooden taught me went way beyond basketball.
Right.
My favorite story about John Wooden is, the first practice, his lesson was teaching them how to tie their shoes. Just think about that. We as leaders sometimes just assume so much about people. And we have to sometimes go all the way back down to the basics to help them so they feel good in their positions and they're motivated to do well.
In this chapter, you talk about both the golden rule and the platinum rule, which you think is even better, right? We all know the golden rule, right? Do to others as you would want them to do to you. But the platinum rule is even better. Talk about the platinum rule and why it's so much better.
Yeah, the platinum rule is to treat others how they want to be treated. And excuse me on your show here. The problem is that what if you're an asshole, then you want to treat others. There are people who just don't get it. And where I have seen, even in my own experiences, almost 30 years as a CEO, is just assuming that people think the same way I do. They have the same motivations. They have what they want to do. So I believe that the greatest nugget as a leader, to have influence over somebody and to motivate them, is understanding them. And that goes beyond just what's your skill sets. It's what's your home life like? What do you, it's those little things that we can do as a leader that, hey, how did your son or daughter do this weekend at their sporting activity? It's that level of sincerity and understanding that will make you shine as a leader.
I think it's interesting. We're in the heart of the NFL playoffs right now. And after reading this, I kind of decided to analyze the coaches that we have left. And, they all adopt this model of not their title, but an influence. And if you look at the coaches that we have left right now in the playoffs, they're all about this platinum rule. I mean, they treat their players differently. They believe in their players. They're on the field with their players. They're doing all those things. And it's such a dichotomy to what it used to be in the NFL. Yeah. It used to be, I'm the coach, you're the player, you listen, but it's not that way anymore. And I think it's really interesting, this transition, because I think we're learning a lot about each other and people, that when we treat people the way they want to be treated, they go to war for you. They go to battle for you. And that's different.
I 100% agree with you. And it's not just the coach player interaction, it's player to player interaction
Mm, true. Yep.
because that's when you've heard some of the teams, that have in the college football ranks, that have done amazing. And I love these guys. We're a family,
Yep.
look at some of the challenges, going back to college now. Ohio State, they had some brutal losses. They lost to Michigan. I mean, that's like losing, you losing to Michigan is like, you get fired and burned at the stake for.
It's true.
But if you heard the players after they won the last one, it's because we came together as the team. The players, there was a players meeting, not just a coaches
Right.
meeting.
Right.
And so, yeah, and that kind of goes to where the leader's not a title. Yes, your quarterback, you're always going to have influencers
Right.
on any team. They may not have a title, but you always have to have those players that are picking up the troops below the head coach owner level, because I'm one of them,
Right. Right. Yeah. His name is David Anderson. The book is titled Leader is Not a Title. It's so good. We're just getting started. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, a couple sponsors. Zoundy is the ultimate game changer for authors, publishers, and professionals in the audiobook space. I use it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's got cutting-edge marketing, customization, specialty marketing, sales tools. Zoundy helps you maximize your audiobooks' reach and revenue. Let me just tell you something. It is so cool that I can give my book away, my audiobook for free away through Zoundy. Here's the difference from any other audio platform. I get the email addresses of who's downloaded the book so that I can interact with them. It's very, very cool. So listen, if you're in the space and you want to do something more with your books as an author, don't care what it is, check out Zoundy.com. But don't just do Zoundy.com. Go Zoundy, ZOUNDY.com/J, J-A-Y, and then put in my special code J25. That's Zoundy.com/J, and then put in the code J25. You're going to unlock special savings. It's going to be the best thing you've ever done for your book. You're going to love it, I promise. And Linda Craft Team Realtors, let me just say that for 40 years, they have been at the top of the real estate game. And what they do is they help people transition in life. And you go, wait, what? The real estate? What do you mean transition in life? Think about it. Every place you've ever been has been a life transition. They, for 40 years, they know how to reduce the stress in that particular situation when it comes to real estate. So when you're ready to sell your home, buy your home, and you want to reduce a whole bunch of stress in the process, check out Linda Craft Team Realtors. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with David Anderson. His book, Leader is Not a Title, just getting started, getting through a couple chapters. Moving into chapter 3, which is entitled Traits of a Good Coach. You start off here by saying, to fully buy into the teamwork mindset, you must first accept coaching as a leadership model. And you said the one thing has never changed. People are always worried about their title. They believe that not only does the title come with monetary benefits, but that title comes with authority and the ability to rule over other people. Help us understand this. We've talked a lot about the teamwork mindset and adopting the coach leadership model. Move us now into changing this idea of titles and putting that together in these first 3 chapters.
Yeah, this is the constant yin yang, internal, external battle of the internal, how I can really do what I love doing, how I can have the biggest effect, and the going to the cocktail party and people say, what do you do? And I could say, oh, I'm a VP of this, or see something of this, or, I manage 20 people that you deal with every day. And it's really where you as a person, and it goes to, before you can lead others, you need to be able to lead yourself. What really matters to you? What do you want to have the biggest effect? The greatest leaders make the people around them better of what they want to do. And it's focusing on, how do I focus on others, not on myself. It also comes to, excuse me, a lot of companies reward people based on monetary goals or other things, which then hurts the team environment, of what's best for the team to go forward. And what I'm trying to convey in the book there is that you can have a much bigger impact by how you treat people and gaining that influence and working to allow them to shine, than the focusing on the me, the I, excuse me, of what I need to go to do. And, just again, I'm going to go back to any sports team, yeah, people have incentives in their contracts and all of that, but the incentives when you make the playoffs and then when you make the NFC championships, AFC championships, and you go to but you don't achieve that on your own. No quarterback can win a Super Bowl on his own. But if I bring the whole team along, everybody is gaining, is being rewarded from where they are. And mostly, none of those players, very few of them really need to do it for the monetary. But boy, that ring you get on your finger, that's something that stays with you the rest of your life. So it goes back to what's your championship? What's the team you need to build around you? How do you build that team around you? Because it will benefit you in the long run.
You go on to say here in this chapter that titles are irrelevant in the face of influence, and that to effectively use your influence, you must become and do the hard work of being an effective communicator. Talk about how influence actually surpasses titles, and then
Yeah.
being the effective communicator.
So the example that I use a lot, and I'm going to say, granted, they're not as prevalent anymore, but think about the receptionist of any business that you're a part of. A new customer, or an existing customer comes through the door to come into your office. How you greet them, how you make them feel, how you address any concerns or issues, how timely are you? That is a huge leadership role right there. And your title is receptionist, admin, whatever you want to call it, but you can have the impact of win or lose a potential new client when you walk through the door, coming in there. So when I say leader's not a title, think about all those roles that you have in your companies where they're interacting with customers or they're leading people, and they may not have that C-suite, that VP or whatever it is, but they are your culture people of your organization, that help build the culture of your organization in the direction that you want it to go, that goes there. Almost any new person who comes into an organization is going to quickly identify who the person is that can help them. Hey, what's really going on here? Can you help me understand this person? Hey, the CEO seems like he's in a really bad mood today. Once upon a time, when I was younger, they used to say, oh, it's Friday, Dave. It's the only day of the week he's happy. But yeah, it's actually true. I can laugh about it now. But, those people that, oh no, that's just a perception or help through. So up and down in organization, there are people that have a huge effect on the overall culture of your organization who have a de facto leadership role just by what they do, not who they are, by what they do.
You finished this chapter with something I thought was extraordinarily powerful. You said there's one key trait that separates a good coach and a great one, and it's the skill to see and have the ability and to foster passion. Your job as a leader / coach is not just to tell, but to evaluate. Evaluate your team, recognize their strengths and weaknesses, and the things they like to do. Talk about us as leader / coach fostering passion in people.
Yeah. For me, passion is directly correlated to motivation.
Hmm.
When you get people who are passionate about something, winning, learning, taking care of clients, wherever it is, whatever it may be, if they're motivated, they're going to be passionate about what they do. If they come to work every day and they love it, they're treated right, the platinum rule versus the golden rule, and they go through, they are going to go that extra mile for you. They are going to work to make that client happy, put in the extra hours to achieve, because they want to keep doing stuff they enjoy. And so, I have one of my businesses, an agency, and we have a variety of clients. We do a lot in one specific area. But when we have a bunch of people in our office who are huge animal people. And so an opportunity came up to work with an organization that does adopting animals and all this type of stuff. And while it was kind of outside our core, I was like, if this is what is going to motivate you and you're going to have passion about and you're going to feel really good about doing, then let's go for it. Because this is a place that, yes, we have direction and focus, but we also can find time to allow people to go after the things that they love to do, also as a complement to what we do overall. Passion makes you want to do it every day. Passion makes you want to keep doing it. And for me, I want people who want careers, not jobs.
Mm.
I want people who want to come and learn and grow and stay, and not just punch a time clock.
Yeah, I totally agree. This actually is a great segue into chapter 4, which is how to hire a great team. And we talked a little bit about, hiring, that we got to have, we need people with different skill sets, those type of things. We kind of talked about a little bit. But you say there are a few key soft skills that every good team needs to share. One is the willingness to learn and grow. And two is that these people are active participants within the organization. Address these two key soft skills and the importance of them.
Yeah, great question. And thank you for asking. The one I am most passionate about, and it is ingrained in our interview process and everything, is a simple question. What's the last book you read, podcast you listen to regularly? What do you do to learn and grow? Thank you very much. Holding up the book.
It's the last book I read. So you asked the question. It's the last book I read. What's the last podcast I listened to? Well, this one.
Yeah, good. I like that. It is people who are continual learners, people who have, one of our core values in the agency is curiosity. We want people who is curiosity. Oh, that's really interesting. I want to dive deeper into that. I want to learn more about that. Hey, can I take this, seminar? Can I go to this, can do there? And I am a late bloomer in this area, to be honest with you. If I told you I'm a graduate of Arizona State University, my mom asked me not to talk about my GPA because it's embarrassing, more embarrassing to her than it is to me. But, I joined the organization you mentioned before that I am now past global chair for Entrepreneurs Organization, 20,000 members. 80 something countries around the world, 200 plus chapters. And that really instilled in me that, Dave, you don't know it all. You're not even close. And we have to spend every single day learning and growing. You had a quote early on that you said about growth and all of that. One of my favorite quotes is either today we learn today we either learn something or we failed, and if we failed, we learned something. So it's that continual loop. Learning isn't just that we do everything right. And I looked at some of my greatest successes can be 100% tracked to my biggest failures. Either the publishing company you mentioned, I stopped counting how much money I lost on that, but it was my greatest lesson was bad partner.
Yeah.
The people
choose better, right? You learn something about choosing a better person in the future. Yep. If you're going to partner with somebody, it's people don't understand that, right? So things go down in flames, and I'm sorry, but sometimes they do. And you walk away from this, oh, it was horrible, it was awful. But then if you can walk away from it going, you know what? I learned a lot about who I shouldn't work with. And that becomes an important lesson, because if you know who you can work well with, but sometimes you got to learn who you don't work well with. And you got to know the traits of that person. Right. And I think those are the lessons that sometimes we ignore because we're so focused on, well, it went down in flames and it was a failure. No, 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 no. Ask the question, what can I learn from this? That's, you talked about curiosity. Sometimes we aren't curious enough to ourselves to ask the question, well, what am I learning from all this?
Yeah, great thing. Somebody who is a member of the EO organization with me is Sarah Blakely. Have you ever, she built Spanx, sold it
Yeah,
to BlackRock or somebody. She will tell the story about at her dinner table growing up each night, her dad would ask, what did you fail at today? And what did you learn?
yeah,
And she attributes that to her success because failure was celebrated and at a young age. Again, I wish I have a 25 and a 22-year-old. Believe me, they don't want to go through growing up with me again. But I wish, I wish I could, because when I learned that, they were well into their senior teen years, where they are. But, and I talk about failure in the book too.
right.
As a society, we shun it. But man, look at some of the business successes that have happened in this world based on failure.
Absolutely.
Founders is a great book. I don't know if you've ever read
Yep.
that, Founders.
Mhm.
And it's basically, we were going out of business and we pivoted, we did this, it evolved to this, and you made it from there. Celebrate failure, learn from it, but celebrate it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. In this chapter, I just want to let people, we're not going to do this because we could get consumed with these, but David talks about in here 7 different types of groups or people with traits that can be damaging to a business if not managed well. I'm just telling you, it's a very fun part of the book to read. The I can handle it all person, the world is coming to an end attitude person. But he's got 7 of these. They're really great. So I encourage you, when you purchase the book, to take a look at that, because they're really, really, really good. And I found them a lot of fun as well as part of this. I want to quickly jump over to chapter 5, creating a shared vision for your team. You make the statement that the word vision is so overused that it becomes stale, almost trite. Matter of fact, those are your words exactly. But you say, in truth, it serves a purpose, because the word vision also means sight. Talk about the importance of vision and how, as a coach / leader, how do we make that vision work for our team, and what do we need to do?
Yeah, I vision is very important. I do think that it's, you've read the vision and mission and all those statements that are 3.5 paragraphs long, and I read the whole thing and I'm like, wait, I don't even remember the first sentence of where it is. So I'm a big believer in keep it simple. But it goes to a leadership. If I'm just pushing stuff down on people,
Mhm.
they don't have ownership in it. People want to have ownership in it. And ownership doesn't mean that it's their idea. It's having a voice
Mm.
in it. It's the ability to provide their interpretation, their insights to it, that allows them to buy in. If people are bought into it, they are going to be motivated to achieve it. And I do believe it's very important that leaders have solid visions, but we need people to buy in, but where we get the biggest buy-in is the how part.
Mm.
Help us bring it to life. Tell me your interpretation. How do we get this to the next level? What do we take it? How do we interpret it? I'm sure your show is filled with leaders 100% better than me. But for us leaders, what goes in these minds, and especially entrepreneurial leaders, and what actually comes out this mouth sometimes doesn't match up.
Right.
So where I'm able to spew it out And my team, they call them the Dave Whisperers. Okay, here's what Dave really means. Here's what we think it is. Hey, that's a bad word, but let's help, refine that. That's where I believe the true magic happens, that people buy into. I'm a part owner in this. I can hang my head high and go to my family and say, I was part of the team that put this together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so true. His name is David Anderson. The book, Leader is Not a Title. Okay, listen. Can I just say something about this book real quick? First of all, available on Amazon and anywhere if you just ask. It's only about 74, 75 pages long. Okay, that's all it is. We have literally, in the last 40 minutes, have just touched on some of the most powerful things in this book. I'm telling you, big things happen in small packages. This book is one of them. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Folks, Zoundy. I love Zoundy. It's the game changing for authors, publishers, professionals in the audiobook space. I have a link I posted on LinkedIn on my profile. You go to my profile and you look through what things I've posted. Do you know that there is a link that every person who goes to LinkedIn right now can download a copy of my book for free? The audiobook. Yeah, I have a LinkedIn link. I have a Facebook link. I have an Instagram link that people can download my book for free. And you go, why would you just give your book away for free? I'll tell you why. Because I want to be in contact with the people who are reading my book or listening to my book, right? And I want to get their ideas. I want to get what inspires them, which helps me as an author to be able to write my next book and get the ideas from them directly and let them know, here's the next book. Zoundy is perfect. So listen, if you want your book to be listened to by anyone, go to zoundy.com/J. It's ZOUNDY.com/J, J-A-Y. Put in my code J25 for special savings. I'm telling you, I love this audio platform and I believe you're going to love it too. Go to my LinkedIn page. Just look up, Coach Jay. You find me on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, download my book. You're going to enjoy it. And I'm going to love talking to you about the book and what your experience is in interacting with you. Check it out. Zoundy.com/J. Use J25. And Linda Craft Team Realtors. Let me just say this. LindaCraft.com is probably the most comprehensive real estate website I have ever been on. I have been on a lot of websites. Yeah, I can get listings and stuff like this. But let me ask you this. Do these websites, do they have a child psychologist who has written about how to move with children? How about a veterinarian who talks about moving with pets? And other such of information that you can be gathering in. You're looking for a position in real estate? Check out lindacraft.com. It doesn't matter. It's comprehensive. It's amazing. I think it's one of the best sites. Check out lindacraft.com. Really easy. LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend David Anderson. I know we haven't officially decided we're friends, but I've made the decision for him. The book is entitled "Leader is Not a Title." Hopefully you're enjoying this, David. I'm having a blast with you talking through this book. It's outstanding. So thank you for being on. I want to jump over here. You talk about in chapter 5 in creating a vision, but I want to jump down a little bit. And you ask a question: how do we make our employees their very best? And you say, get to know your employees because it has two benefits. It helps you manage them and it makes them happy. Why is the making them happy part so important?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go to the influence and motivation. If people feel that they're recognized, heard, known as a person, not just employee A735624, that they are recognized, as I said a minute ago, they're contributing. And listen, let's just be honest. I mean, just by the title of See Something, CEOs especially, wow, the bosses recognize me. I think it's important for everybody, but so many COOs, CEOs, presidents can get easily removed from the people around them.
Mm.
Now, listen, if it's in a huge organization, that can be more difficult, but don't discount the value of walking the halls. In
Mhm.
this day and age, maybe it's popping in a Zoom call of, hey, what's the team doing here? What's listening? Hey, I want to thank you for what you're doing. It really just goes to the most basic human needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's recognition that I'm contributing something. The CEO knows my name. I remember not too long ago, we have somebody on our team. She's awesome. And I was bringing breakfast in for a big team meeting we were having. And I said, oh, Lizzie, what gluten-free can I bring you? And she told me the next day, she went home that night and she was like, the CEO remembered that that I need gluten-free of what it is. And it just made the biggest impact. It's the little things. It kind of surprises me sometimes. I can hand out a $25 Starbucks gift card, not $5,000 bonus. And people are like, oh my gosh, thank you. It's the simple things that we can do as a leader, but we have to make time for it to do it, because it's extremely motivational. And again, it just goes to basic human nature.
Right. Right. It does. And I want to tell you something that I pulled out of this book, digging a little deeper into this whole coach leadership thing. And you don't explicitly say it, but it's implied. As organizations get bigger, and you just talked about this, sometimes it's difficult to be in touch with every level of the organization simply because the size is so mammoth. But this is your opportunity and this is why I love the coaching model that you give. This is when you, as the CEO, coach the coaches. Mm-hmm. And you don't explicitly say this, but if you're way up there on the ladder, and it's harder to see everybody, the better job that you do of coaching the people who move down those levels, right? There's your influence and impact on the lower levels. And I agree with you. If we're having a company-wide meeting, you do, as a CEO, you need to show up, and you should know those people, and you need to introduce your people as best that you can. I get it. If you're a giant corporation, you can't know everybody, but boy, you have a huge influence on coaching those people who do influence that next level down and that next level down. And coaching the coaches, I think, is really imperative as a senior leader. Thoughts?
100 and 200, 300% agree with you. I do some coaching with executive teams, building high performing teams and that. And I just concluded an engagement with a company. And what I told the high performing team is, your job now, and has always been, is you are the coach to the next level down. I just work with you. So please pay it forward. Please know that what I've done with all of you, you need to do with your teams, because they're yearning for it. They want it. They mimic you. They see what has happened. And so I think you've put it brilliantly is, and again, it goes to that the greatest leaders build the people around them up to help build others up. And when you build your team around you, good things will happen. Good thing. Think of any sports team. Think about, especially in football, how a single injury on any given play, the next player needs to step up. And, hopefully that, wide receiver pick a position has been helping coach the player below them so they can step up and, support them. And how many times does a quarterback go down? They make $60 million a year and then they can't play after 2 games. But then, excuse me, the best ones have ensured that their backup are ready to step in and that they know that they're there and it's not a competition for the position that's what's in the best interest of the team.
Yeah. I love the backup quarterback in the NFL, right? Because what people don't realize is they get very limited snaps with the first team, yet they have to be so prepared to come in at any moment, right? And they need to deliver, and I think it's It's one of those things you go, oh, it's the backup quarterback. You don't understand how much a coach has to do on the side with that backup quarterback to make sure he knows every play that the starting quarterback knows the game plan that the starting quarterback knows, whether he gets in or not, and then can execute it at his highest level, right? That's coaching, because everybody thinks that you're just coaching the starters. No. You're coaching the guy. You're coaching the guys who are the next backups too. And I think that's an important thing that comes out of this book too, is coaching isn't just about coaching your starters. You better be coaching your backups too. Talk about that for a second.
Absolutely. One of our greatest jobs, and we are sometimes hesitant, is succession planning.
Yeah.
Who's going to step up next. And I'm going to go one further, Jay, with not only the backup, Brock Purdy. My oldest son went to high school with Brock Purdy. He's from our town here. He was 2 layers down,
right?
And they had him ready to step in and ready to go, Mr. Irrelevant. Now look at him now. But what I want to say about that too is it goes back to what we talked about before. Brock Purdy has a learn and grow mindset. He has been the underdog his entire career. He barely got recruited to go to college after an injury, stepped in, played 4 years. But he was ready at every single stage of it because he had the right mindset. My team needs me. It may not be game 1. It may be the last game of the season. He has the right mindset, and he had a learn and grow mentality that I am a part of this team, regardless of what my title is. 3rd string quarterback, he's lucky. He's probably cleaning the balls at practice, much less taking any snaps, So, think about that he was ready to go. So it's a 2-way street. Not only do you have to coach, you have to have people that want to be coached and are coachable. And what, as hard as it is, leaders, I will tell you, if you have people that don't have a learn and grow mindset, don't want to be coached, make the difficult decision much sooner than later, because it will hurt you down the road.
We've almost done our full hour, and it's gone really, really fast, David. I don't know about you, but it just flown by. I want you to just make a quick comment about the last thing you say in chapter 10. The most important thing, I'm quoting you, the most important thing for leaders is to do something with all the information they take in. We've given people a lot of information. Encourage the people as they wind down this podcast, this TV show. Encourage them to do something with what we've talked about today.
Yeah, great question. So I'm actually going to give you some statistics around this one, because when I speak or do other things, there has been a study done. You can go to Google, search it, and all of that people are listening to your fantastic podcast here today. This relates to people who go to corporate learnings, bringing in speakers, bringing all of this. It has been studied and shows that in the first hour, people forget 50% of what they hear. So that means some of your listeners don't even remember my name, even though you've said it like 10 times of what it is. 75% of what you hear and learn is lost within 2 days, and 90% is forgotten and goes away within 1 week. Now, your listeners listen to you because they want to learn and grow and take things away. So take notes on what you heard, download this, listen to again, but put an action plan in place. And it does not have to be an action plan of 100 things. I walk away from every podcast, every speaker, every, reads that I do. If you just take one thing away today and take action on it, you are doing that 1% better every day. And if we really focus on that 1% better every day that you talked about, you will achieve awesome successes. So your time's the most valuable thing we have. Don't wake up tomorrow morning and do nothing with what you've heard from this podcast from Jay or any past ones. Just do one thing. just one thing, and it'll make that one. I think 1% would be limiting. Now I'm going to be shamelessly self-promoting. Buy the book, and then you can read it over and over again from there. There you go. But just do something. Just please do something.
That's awesome. David, thanks for being with us. Stay with me, will you please? Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you every week, right? You are in control of three things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. I know life can be hard and circumstances can be rough, but here's the thing: you still have control of your attitude. As difficult as it is, have a positive attitude, because that's going to take you a lot further. Your effort that you're in control of is your excellence. You choose how excellent you're going to be today. So choose your excellence. And then finally, your resiliency. You know what? We all get punched in the mouth or punched in the gut and get knocked down. It's up to you to get back up again. We need you to get back up. Why? Because we need you on the team and you're worth it. I'm going to be back next week with another great guest and another great book. Makes my life easy because it's automatically another great show. You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube and a positive review wherever you may be listening or watching the show. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.